Hi there. Okay, welcome back. It is day 2 of our temper management challenge. And I am so excited for today because this is the day we're going to talk about something that all kinds of light bulbs are going to go off for you guys when you look at other people you interact with. And so today's the day. And what we're going to talk about is the sensory system, the senses in a person's body. Most people think there are 5 senses. I talk about 7. And my background in occupational therapists spend like the sensory system is what they are experts in. So I have had so much training in this, and I love it because it is so impactful for me about what I know about me, how I function, and it makes a huge impact with every child that I interact with, what I know about my kids and how to interact with them in their uniqueness and their sensory system that is unique and looks different than mine. And also just in people that I work with, sensitivities that if I interact with a friend who might say something and I'm like, oh, I think this person has a hearing sense that becomes easily stressed. Or it could be touch. This person avoids hugs. They'd rather have a high five. That might be because their tactile or touch sense is more sensitive or becomes easily overloaded or stressed. And so that is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go quickly over each of the senses. Some of them are pretty basic, but there's these other 2 that I talk about. One is movement, and the fancy term for it is called vestibular sense. And it deals with, there's a little bit of inner ear that's deals with it. And the other one is body awareness, knowing where your body is in space in regard to gravity, and also knowing what your body is doing. So for young kids who have a sensory system, and I tell you this because if you have young kids between birth to 8, their sensory system can be very glitchy, or it has hiccups in it, or there's a kink in the hose because they're so new, they're so young, and all this information is coming in through all their senses, and their brain and body and nervous system is trying to figure out what to do with it, how to process it in the brain, what it means, and how to send a reaction, a response for the child to behave based on what came in. So it's complicated. It's a really sophisticated system, this human body that God designed. And so with young kids, their sensory system is one thing that has lots of kinks, and it makes a huge impact on their behavior. And when I help parents understand a child's sensory system and what that child is communicating with their behavior that looks like a tantrum, a meltdown, an outburst, a not listening, usually parents can so quickly, they're like, oh my goodness, I get it. And now I understand why this kid acts like this. And it's just huge light bulb moments that can really improve harmony and connection in your family. And I am all about setting myself and my family up for success. What does that look like? It looks like understanding everybody's sensory system. What are they sensitive to? If, I'm going to go to, let's say, we were on vacation in Costa Rica and we went to a coffee plantation, and my whole family was fine. But we were on the tour with a man who was very smell sensitive. And so it was that strong coffee smell for a long time. I think the tour was an hour and a half. And that man was getting so, I could just see him. He was getting irritated and agitated, and it was too much for him. So we can set ourselves up for success when we know what our sensitivities are, and when we know what the sensitivities are for the people in our family. And if we can have communication and dialogue and acceptance about these sensitivities, it's a really healthy place for your child to be, and also for you. So I want to help you with that. Um, One other system that I mention really quickly because it's super important, and some occupational therapists rope it in as probably the eighth sense. I don't, but it's called the interoceptive system. This is an internal alarm system. So the seven senses are taking information from the outside world. What stimuli, what input, what information is coming at us from all these different directions from our environment all day long. All of our senses are having to work together to gather all this information from outside of our body. But there's also a system inside our body that has receptors and is communicating to our nervous system about the state of our body. And the interoceptive system deals with hunger. It deals with the alarm of, I have to go to the bathroom. It deals with an internal signal for someone who's about to throw up. So it's kind of these automatic things: hunger, thirst, bathroom, vomit. Can also help register pain, because some pain we can get through our touch on the outside of our body. But there's also, you can have a cramp or something inside of your body. And that interoceptive system is what sends the signal and alert somebody, okay, I need to do something to take care of this alarm that's going off inside my body. And sometimes for kids, again, this interoceptive system doesn't work as efficiently and as smoothly as it should. And if you have a child who is wetting the bed at night, that is a child who has a weakness in their interoceptive system, because they are not getting a strong signal, or they might be getting a strong signal, but they're too tired. It's not waking them up, or they're not hearing it inside their body to know, oh my goodness, I need to get up and go to the bathroom, even though it's the middle of the night, because this alarm's going off inside my body. So that's interoceptive system. Post any questions you have in the group. I'm happy to talk more about it. It's huge. Sleep, food, those things are huge in how our children behave. They're huge with us. If I don't sleep good, I'm tired and grumpy. If I don't eat, I'm hangry. And so understanding that is so, we have to make sure our kids are have had good rest, good sleep, and they have nourishment. They have food to make their little bodies grow and move and work. Okay, so there is taste, smell, hearing, sight, touch. The two that I want to talk about really quickly is the body awareness and the movement, or vestibular. And the reason I'm going to really talk to you about these is because not that many people know about them. But when you have a child who is not does not have a smooth sense of body awareness, this is the child that is banging into your walls. This is the child that is super clumsy. This is the child that might stand way too close to somebody. They don't have any boundaries. They don't understand personal space. And I don't want to get too technical with the sensory system, but there are kind of two ways when a person gets stressed in a particular sense, they can either get drained and get exhausted and lose energy because of the stress on that sense, or they can get hyper aroused. They can get more energetic, more crazy, more loud. And so oftentimes a child who doesn't have very good body awareness, has a weakness in this sense, is banging into stuff, bumping into kids, stumbling into classmates. This is the child who gets the rap of, this is just a bad kid. He's bumping into stuff. He's climbing my walls. He's always moving, but he doesn't know where he's moving. He keeps knocking the baby over. This is the child that really has a weakness in this area, and they are not intentionally being bad. They are not intentionally doing, knocking baby sister over. They're not intentionally doing it. They just do not have a sense in their body of what their body is doing. And so I just feel so compassionate towards these kids, because if I get a 6 or 7-year-old child that for the last, since they were 2, they've been getting the message, I'm the bad kid. I'm always the one who bumps into somebody. I knock something over. I, trip my friends. They so quickly will start to internalize, I'm the bad one. I'm the bad one in the family. And I'm like, no, you're not. We can help you get some strategies and tools to help that weakness in that particular sense. And so they don't feel like they are the bad kid anymore, because we're going to give you parents some things to do or not do, depending on what situation you're going into, what environment you're going to be in that day. So we can set that child up for success, to where that sense of body awareness is not going to get overloaded. And so that's the goal, is for our nervous system. And our nervous system gets information about our safety and how our body is feeling and operating from the senses. And so that information comes in. But the goal is for the nervous system to be at an okay, it's all good point. I talk about it like a thermostat. You set your thermostat at a certain point, and then your air conditioner is going to kick on to keep it cool. Your heat might kick on to keep it this set point. Every person has their own set point, and it's different from everybody. So we're constantly trying to keep ourselves at that set point. For adults, if you chew gum, if you twirl your hair, if you click your pen, all of these are socially acceptable ways that adults are regulating our senses, our nervous system, to stay calm, content, to be okay. And so kids need help. They need guidance to know what's okay to do. I can't body slam all the kids in my class. That's not an okay way to get my thermostat point at a-okay. No, that is not. Now we're going to give you a million other things that are okay, but body slamming all your classmates, that doesn't work. So kids, a lot of times they don't know. And parents, you probably haven't known until now. So I'm so happy to share this with you, because it makes the biggest difference. And it makes a difference as an adult to know what your sensitivities are. because for me, because I'm hearing sensitive, if I'm going to go to, let's say, a school auction, there's going to be a lot of people there. There's going to be an auctioneer there. There's going to be background music playing. There's going to be people walking and on their phone. I might hear the phone going off. I'm trying to talk to somebody, but I'm also hearing all these conversations from other people. My auditory system, my hearing system, does not filter out well. Is it completely messed up? No, but it has a weakness in it, and it has my entire life. So it doesn't mean I'm a bad person, doesn't mean I'm, less than anybody. No, it's just uniquely how God made me. And when we understand, then, I just have to do or not do certain things to keep my hearing from overloading my whole system. And when that happens, say at the school auction, if I know like it's too much, and I like literally, I feel like my brain just starts to swell and I'm like, starts to overload. So I'll remove myself. I might have to tell my kids, okay, y'all sit here. I'm going to step outside for 5 or 10 minutes. I just need peace and quiet. I just need to reset my nervous system and get completely back to that thermostat A-OK point. And then I can come back. And so with each of your senses, once you understand what you need to do to reset them, to get back to that A-OK set thermostat point, you easily can. So in our day 2 challenge, we have a lot of information. I'm going to give you what sensory overload looks like. And that can be different with every child, every person. And then some solutions of what to do, 2 or 3 things for each sense. The other sense I wanted to tell you about that is a little bit different is the movement sense. So if you have a child who needs movement to regulate, to calm, to stay at that thermostat point, this is the child who might need to pace back and forth while they're memorizing their spelling words. They're constantly jiggling their foot, moving, tapping, doing something. And that is, again, how they are in a acceptable way, trying to keep their nervous system and their system calm and collected and cool and A-OK. And we need to have that calm, cool, A-OK point for us before we can show up in a calm, A-OK, best way to our kids. So for me, because I'm hearing sensitive, my kids know it. They help me set myself up. They do things for me. They cover for me. And they understand if I'm watching my middle child play volleyball in a noisy gymnasium that has whistles going off, coaches yelling, balls bouncing, people clapping, girls screeching and screaming. That is my idea of worst case scenario. And isn't it funny? I mean, God's sense of humor. Here's a child, Kelly, who loves to play volleyball. So I am often in a noisy, overstimulating gymnasium watching her. But she also knows it takes a lot out of me. So I'm usually good for 1 or 2 games every day. I'm not going to sit for 4 or 5 games because I can't handle it. And I will tell other parents who are around me, because I have been confronted by parents on the team. Well, we don't really see you a lot. And I'll say, I don't really stay more than 1 or 2 games for health reasons. I don't have to give any more explanation than that. It's a health reason. The health of me being calm and cool matters. And so I'm going to do what I need to do to take care of me. Because when I take care of me, I can show up the best for my kids. So I want to encourage you to do that. So that's movement, body awareness, taste. Taste is something that, parents are so particular about food, nourishment. And if you have a child who is taste sensitive, I really encourage you to tread lightly. And so on our day 2 worksheet, there is information of things you can do, how to help them with that sensitivity. But we just really want to be careful that we're not getting them so focused on food. And that can just lead to, there's so many kind of food related, I don't want to say, like anorexia, bulimic stuff, but there's just a lot of kind of food focused behaviors that can be unhealthy, and we don't want to go there. So I would rather you understand your child is very taste sensitive. It might be a texture thing, it might be the actual taste of it, but I can give you a lot of ways to help your child if this is their sensitivity. Okay, so for worksheet day 2, I did tell you what overload can look like, and it's very different. So a person whose sensory system is overloaded in one of their senses, it could be that person shutting down, them having a quick mood change, that it could be a child crying, it could be a child running out of the room, it could be a child cowering in a corner. Like, this is too much. So just be aware. And again, it can look lots of different ways. So don't expect each of your kids to behave the same way if their sensory system is overloaded. It will be different for every child. Okay. Also, there is a free sensory profile quiz. This is you answering some questions, and it's 3 pages long, but to figure out if you're sensitive to touch, do itchy tags in your clothes drive you insane? That could be one clue. Do you get really uncomfortable if you're going to get a lot of hugs? Some people who are very touch sensitive, they don't want to be hugged. You don't like going to the beach, like the sand and the grit and the salt in the seawater. You do not like it. You are not a beach person. That could alert you to some touch sensitivities. So take this free sensory profile quiz, and then based on that, you're going to learn your sensitivities. And then I have included, there are like 3 or 4 pages of each sense and what to do if you are sensitive in that area. So let me know if you have questions. And I would love for you to post in our Facebook group later what your sensitivities are, or a couple sensitivities of your child. And real quickly, I want to address something. So I had a mom say, I am not really, I don't think, tactile sensitive, but by the end of the day, with all of her children, hugging and loving and all the ways they touch a mother every day, her husband, likes touch. So he is not sensitive tactile wise in that it, is overloading or alarming to him. He's tactile and physical in that he wants to touch her. And so at the end of the day, when she has been touched a bazillion times, she's like, don't touch me. So that's totally normal. And so what I would do is just give her some strategies to help lessen the tactile that she's getting from her kids all day. Or maybe we can't stop at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but on Friday when she wants a date night with her husband, and if he wants to hold her hand or put his arm around her, we want her to be okay with that in her nervous system and not be snippy. Like, don't touch me. Like, one more touch. No, We want her harmony, peace with her husband. And so we can help set her up with her kids earlier in the day. So she shows up in a way for her husband that is what she wants. So I have been doing this for a super long time. I love the sensory system. It's so fascinating. I love to watch people anywhere because I'm always picking up and seeing how they're reacting to each other. And yeah, so post, let me know what you're sensitive to, and good luck with this day 2 challenge.